Hi everyone. Today I'm introducing Shirel, who will be presenting Gabor Maté's book, The Myth of Normal. If everyone is ready, he can begin.
Okay, I'll
Okay,
start now.
thank you.
So, this is actually a pretty long book, but it had a lot of good ideas. And ironically, I'm going to make my presentation short and to the point. So, hopefully, I'll be done before 9:10. Okay. So the author, he was born in Hungary to a Jewish family during the second to last year of World War II. Uh, and being a Jewish family in Europe in World War II, it doesn't end well, right? He lost both of his grandparents to Auschwitz before he was a year old. And while he was there, he was left in the care of it was left separated from his family for 5 weeks, and that extended period of separation formed a trauma in him, right? And it's this idea of trauma that he talks a lot about in his book, and how there are different kinds of traumas and how they affect our health outcomes and how we live our lives, right? But currently, he is alive. He lives in Canada with his wife of 56 years as of now. Okay, so I'm just going to cover the major chapter sections, not the individual chapters themselves. So I'll just toss out a couple ideas and a couple of my ideas on top of that. So for first, starting off, right, for a long period of time, humans were interconnected in social groups, very close together. We spent a lot of time together. Um, and ironically, our modern society has had us further and further apart, right? He says that modern society puts us in conditions that are unhealthy as a normal, which isn't good for us, right? And then this toxic culture undermines our mental and physical health, and that causes issues in our health outcomes in the future, right? Because there's this idea that your conditions and the world you live in has a direct influence on your mental state, which then in turn has a direct influence on your health, right? So next is the distortion of human development, right? So basically there's a lot of this idea that like we aren't as connected to children anymore as well, right? There's this idea that like if a child is crying in medicine, that you should just leave the child to cry. However, he says the opposite should be true, right? Throughout the history of humankind and the human experience, we have direct interaction with children almost constantly, and there's this quote that he cites at a certain point where he talks about how colonial peoples would would leave their children out, would be in contact with them a lot. The pre-colonial people, right, in America, North America, and then people who came over to colonize, the Europeans who came over to colonize, saw this as like a problem. They saw this as like their contact with their children, and that the fact that they don't strike their children, they see that as a problem, right? But he emphasizes that human development is dependent on connection and how you are connected to the people around you. And since children don't get good connection, they develop coping mechanisms. And then these coping mechanisms may cause problems later on. There's also this idea of like the good child. And oftentimes, a child that is good, quote unquote, isn't actually good, but rather they're just silent. So you don't perceive any problems that they could cause, right? There's also this idea that everyone is chronically stressed, and chronic stress in parents reflects in children, and children becoming stressed, then developing coping mechanisms as well. So next is rethinking abnormal, right? So he poses this idea that trauma is the absence of emotional safety rather than like a specific event that causes suffering, right? And he talks on and on about how like if you live in a position in society where you're at a constant state of tension, then this can cause long-term traumas for you since you lack that state of emotional safety. He also talks about how like Western medicine focuses on symptoms rather than root causes because they, one, it'll help them make money, and two, they think like, okay, this medicine will always solve the problem. And he doesn't deny that the medicines solve the problem often, but it creates a chronic cycle, right? Where, okay, you solve the problem with the parent, but then you have to solve the problem with the kid when they get older, and then you'll have to solve the problem with the grandkid instead of addressing the root cause and making sure that none of them needs this healthcare in the first place, right? Additionally, he talks about how your health is the result of all of the factors in your life: physical, spiritual, mental, social, right? And it is not just this purely physical thing that the modern medicine treats it as, right? And then the last thing he talks about is your genetics and how genetics influences a predisposition, but it does not show end outcomes, right? So it doesn't explain the rapid trends. So whenever they're like, oh, this ethnic group has hypertension because XYZ genetics, he's like, no. He's saying that it's because of the social pressures that they are under combined with the predisposition that then leads to the higher rates of hypertension. So next is the toxicities of our culture, right? So he basically goes on this idea about how we are very consumerist and that what used to be filled with connections is now being filled with material things that we buy, right? He also talks about this idea that people are not self-made, right? You live in a system, right? No matter how hard you try as an individual, if the bridge in front of you is broken when you try to get to work, you alone cannot just fix the bridge, right? We live in systems and we need to acknowledge those systems to see how those systems influence our successes, right? He also talks about this idea that addiction is an adaptation to societal traumas rather than a result of personal failings. I think he gives this statistic about how children who live in like traumatic households have a higher rate of falling for the addictive effects of cocaine. And then that in turn may cause a cycle, which then causes them to inflict trauma upon their own children, right? And then this last idea, right? You're perpetuating cycles of harms lead to worse health outcomes, right? And we need to go to that root issue of what's causing these traumas to then actually get meaningful health outcomes long term for society as a whole instead of just one by one individuals. So he ends it off with this section on the pathways to wholeness, right? Where a person needs to identify their authentic self to acknowledge the things that might have caused them discomforts, that might have caused them to disconnect from others, so that they can then start connecting with others. They need to be compassionate to themselves. They need to have compassionate relationships so that they can also help with the trauma. And then lastly, the two big ideas is that you need to be a part of a community, right? And your role in your community will promote your health far more than any action you can take as an individual. And you need to also try to take actions as an individual towards systemic change so that we can transform healthcare, education, and our workplaces so that we can all have better health outcomes for ourselves as a whole. So a couple more small ideas that I like from him as an author. So it's why is an important question before we try to solve the problem, right? Why? What is the root cause? Stress in parents will cause them to have greater risk children that can then have worse health outcomes. Another thing he talks about is how we should measure things and how they help human development rather than some arbitrary number like GDP, right? Because if the GDP is up by 10%, but everyone is unhappy, what have we gotten done, right? And then lastly, no condition of human beings does not reflect the social and cultural background that these humans live in. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you so much,
Thank you. Yeah.
Cheryl. The floor is open for any intervention, but I think I will go first.
Okay.
With
Okay.
this book, I learned and I recognize many things like uh, African culture views, um, trivializes mm, depression and many other problems stemming from mental fatigue and the society uh, neglects basic human needs like safety, connection, belong, and being truly hard. And that uh, um, leads to many trauma and the mind problem. And that's all for me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if someone have intervention, we can go.
Arun?
Okay.
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 So I would like to jump in, a few minutes, and thank you, Shrel, for the presentation. Bright also and very short. And we, the people in this club, we like when it's short. No more 20-minute or 25-minute presentation in this club. So we are following beyond step, and that's great. Um, about the book. It's a very big book, but some of the takeaway for me is especially on the health aspect of life when he's talking more about the system just taking care of the issue, but never ask for the root cause why someone is sick, and they just prescribe medication, and then like should I say, and the kid will get sick and the grandkid will get sick, and the cycle is there. You work, you get some money, and then the money is gone to the medication and you just stress out, and it's a cycle right there. I watched an old man last time. He's a medical doctor, 100 years, and he say as at medical school they don't take any major course in nutrition in medical school. Medical nutrition is not part of the course here in the US. So they just focus on how to treat. But we all know that the food, right, nutrition is key to health, but they don't. So I like that aspect on the book when it says medicine often treats symptom in isolation, ignoring the social and emotional root of the disease. So I don't have that much to say than African education is somehow when you were born and raised in Africa, you somehow traumatized already compared to our kids who are born here, right? Like like let's say your mom asks you, Cheryl, go and bring me a bottle of water. In my culture, when you bring a bottle of water, if you don't put it on the table and you say, Mom, I have the water, she will say, put it on my head, right? And those are stuff that we grew up in, and we didn't know that it was that bad, that it was kind of abrupt, right? And then later when you talk outside, people feel like, where you talking from? And so many stuff that kind of little, they seem like nothing, but later in life, they influence whatever you're doing. So again, thank you for the presentation. Just a question for you. Two questions. What is normal? What that mean? And the other question, what is, he said the myth of normal. What is a myth and what is normal? That's the two questions. Thank you. But the question is for anyone though.
All right. Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks. Yeah.
Um, who want to go next?
Okay, so I will
Let,
go.
oh, you
Okay.
want to go? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this book is as I used to say, like a textbook. It sounds like a psychologist book that we read. But takeaway for me is the way he portray our modern society, right? Like the individualism, the materialism, uh, that's going on. You are in the neighborhood, you don't even know your neighbor's name, or you go just say hi and hi. There's no connection. And I believe that connection, that's a um, social interaction is a part of human development, and isolation and self-centerism can be a source of diseases, right? Um, so yeah, he talked about that. So that, and since Thomas was talking about our African education, but on the other side, the social life in Africa is something to that I like better. That help people to develop, right? When you compare the two society, or the two, yeah, society, you will see that there's a lot of mental diseases in our modern world than back in Africa, right? Here people can kill themselves frequently because they're so depressed, or they're anxious, they so much stress, right? And so that's one thing I think we should work on to improve our social interaction. Even in the same house, we have to sometimes sit down and talk and laugh and joke together, and it's part of our healing. Another thing I want to talk about is uh, how do you call it? The stress. He mentioned stress, right? Stress is has very negative parts, influence on our health. So he mentions stress, how stress is a chronic burden on our immune system. So we need to be mindful of how much stress we are putting on our body. And today's world, everything we do work wise is stressful, right? You go to work, you are so stressed, driving is so stressful, and everything basically is stressful. So how are we going to do to manage that stress, to prevent that stressor to have negative impact on our life? That's one thing we have to think about, and do to prevent those chronic diseases, and yeah, those chronic diseases. And I also like the way he said that modern medicine does not treat the root cause of all the diseases. You go in, or you have high blood pressure, they'll give you medication for high blood pressure. However, what is causing your high blood pressure? Is it stress at home? Is it an issue at work? Is it not? None of that is asked, right? High blood pressure, medication for high blood pressure. Could you prevent that high blood pressure other way by managing stress, by fixing the problem that is causing the high blood pressure? That would be much better for the people. And again, thank you, Shirel, for your great presentation. It's always uh, to the point, and always sounds like a lecture. So you will be a good lecturer, Shirel. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Colon.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me quickly go, if I may.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Let me open my camera. Yeah. So thank you, Shira, for the presentation. And as everyone was saying, the book is a big book, but the myth of normal here, as the way I understand, is not because everyone is walking with the head that you might think that is the normal way to walk. You had to ask you your question to see whether it's the best way to do it, because what we think that is normal, even in the medicine today, if you are diabetic, they will say to you that there's no cure. But everyone knows that nowadays you can cure diabetic if you just refrain to take sugar. That's the cure. I mean, fasting, or make sure that you don't go for sugar, you cure. But everyone is saying that. And if you don't do your own research, you believe that they are saying the truth. So is what is happening here. It's not because everyone is accepting the thing that you come and accept it. And especially I was thinking about the birthing, and I didn't even think about that. He said that go and try to be on your back and try to push as if you want to go to the loo. It's going to be difficult for you. So it's the same thing for the ladies, that we think that by putting them at the back is the best way to birth. But according to certain society, I don't know if it's true, but they prefer to be standing. You see, so it's something that you have to accept. To we know certain things, but you have to accept to unlearn them and relearn something else, which is sometimes difficult. And when we want to blame the stress, I think the stress is because of the system of our economy. Our economy is based on debt. Why? Because if there are three people in the economy system, and you go to the bank and you borrow $100, $100, $100, it means that in that system is only $300. But the bank will be asking you to come and pay maybe $310. Where are you going to get those $10? You had to fight. You had to get others 300. You go and get some of the 100 other people's 100 to pay yours. So that's what is creating this the system, how the stress, and we don't even know that we are in stress. And it's the money. If you want to blame the system, the stress, I think it's the money. Why? Because before, when we were going to the hospital, the doctor would talk to you around 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Oh, how are you? How is your parent? Blah, blah, blah. But now is as if you are wasting their time. Okay, how does it do? Okay, yeah, I'll send my nurse now to give you the, and that's it. He finished the consultation already. Why? Because they want him to do faster. They don't want the insurance company don't want him to charge maybe 2 hours. You charge them 2 hours, they will say no, it's only 5 minutes that we want to pay. So next time, that doctor who want to discuss more information about you will not stay longer because they don't want to pay him. And that's why a lot of people in America here trying to go to third world world hospital to get checkup. Like one lady will say, oh, I went to Thailand, and there I didn't even have an appointment. I just walk in and they take care of me. They have this, they have that. I mean, everything was done perfectly according to her. Why? Because our money power here goes there. We are like a king, but here you are nothing. So yeah, and normal, as Thomas was asking as a question, normal here is that you have to be able to question everything that you are saying. You have to be able to question everything that you are saying. And that normal in certain area could be abnormal in another world. Like the Scandinavians, when they come here in America, they leave their child in the buggy outside and enter the restaurant. Because for them, in their culture, health, I mean, the baby need to be outside to get more, how to breathing, more vitamin D, and so and so. But when you do that in America, they will catch you. They'll arrest you, saying that, oh, you are mismaltreating your child. But down there, they believe that is the normal thing. So normal here can be a normal somewhere else.
Right.
And then we have to blame the money as well, because everyone wants to get, because he was saying that the C-session, the scissors session that they were practicing on ladies for birthing was only 20% before, but now is almost 50%. Why? Because when they give birth, the doctor get more money through C-section than normal. So what he will push you to? He will say, oh, I will spend 30 minutes for both of the operation, but I will get maybe 2,000 here. But if it's a C-section, I will get 10,000. He will go for the C-section. So we have to blame the money as well for all this, what is going on. On that, thank you, Shira, for the presentation. That was quick, and we will try to mimic you next time. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nestle.
Thank you, Dr. Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seems I'm the only one left in the group now to chip in.
You and
Okay.
beyond. Mm.
Oh yeah, and beyond. Okay.
Crystal didn't come today.
I don't think I see her on. Yeah.
She
Well,
sent a message that she wasn't gonna come.
oh, okay. Well, thank you guys for everybody's intervention, and thank you particularly to Shirel for a wonderful presentation. I really like his, how he made it brief again today, and then it is following the trend that we are all learning. Really appreciate it. And I appreciate also the fact that he pointed out, keenly the fact that we are a society, we as a society, we are not supposed to live individually. We are meant to live in a group, or as an we are meant to live interconnected to do better rather than living individually. So any move that we make to help us, bring us together, to work together and do things together will help us more than when we create, or intentionally or unintentionally, that isolation. It doesn't help, and it creates some kind of scars, creates really bad trauma on anyone subject to that kind of isolation, that leads to so many other complications that we ended up not knowing. So I really, really like the way he, at multiple occasions, he mentioned that. That was wonderful. That was also something that I grabbed from the book. And there are so many other things that he has already covered. But one thing that I wanted to point or to touch, as something that that this author said, he said that we should, when we are coming to to treatment or healing, healing requires curiosity rather than judgment. If you approach healing as a judgment, you go ahead and ask, what is wrong with me? But when you approach it with curiosity, you ask the right question, which is, what has happened to me? If you go for what has happened to you, you look for the root cause, as Sister Colombo was saying, which will be the true solution to your situation. The root cause, most of the time, is not anything recent. Most of the time, it stems from either a situation in the past or series of habits that had led to that. And if you do not go ahead and try to see what is wrong with you and treat that, but going for what has happened and then try to correct what has happened, you will end up finding a better solution to the situation. And I always say we shouldn't always condemn the system too much or blame the system, but when things are happening, we should blame ourselves and see what we could do different, because we are in a society where everything should be on the rush, and people have built that habit in a way that I work, as a helper in certain companies or in certain society, or I attended certain situation where people don't want the real root cause to be known. They just want the quick solution and now, period. And most of our sisters and brothers who are in healthcare will testify. There are patients who do not care about whether they can try to find the wrong habit, what happens to lead to this kind of situation. They just want a quick solution, a cure. They just want the pain to go. And when doctors are trying to make them to avoid medication, to help them use the proper way to the solution, they end up avoiding that doctor and go with the one who will give them quick solution and quick fix, as if they are a machine. So we should not blame the society or the system too much, but either the system has already created the kind of zombie that we have already become today, and then coming to Fred Thomas's question, what is normal? We come to a point where what everyone or what the majority or what the group to which we identify ourselves is accepting is what is normal. And the normality is no longer what is right or what is correct. It is what people that I believe in or people that I like or I look like are doing that is normal. But the author, I criticized it and rejected it strongly. It's not that it is because everyone is doing it that it is normal. The wrong could not be turned into right because everyone said it is right. And so on. And black will remain black, white will remain right, regardless what kind of picture whoever make it looks like. So that is what I have to share. And thank you very much. Thanks once more for your.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
We like it. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So look like
No, should be leaving.
sorry guys.
Leon, you want to talk?
Beyond.
Do you want to talk?
Maybe he's mute.
No, there he goes. He was muted when I was unmuted.
I want to thank Shrell for the great presentation. I don't really have much to say because I didn't read the book.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, let's
That is honest.
make sure to read it next time.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
Yep.
for your honesty.
okay.
Yeah. So, um, just to go back to what everyone say one way or another, like the whatever is normal, right? Normal, like norms, agree upon on in society. It might be from the government, the norm. It might be from the religion. It might be from the family, right? It might be from a tribe, the norms. But the norms in one place might not be true in another, like Nasif say, right? If you go, most of the market, I mean, market when you go and buy stuff and sell, what I call it market in Benin, they happen during the day. But if you know, you have some area in Benin and the market is at night, right? And that's the norm in those area. And they start the going market at 6 p.m. all the way
Mhm.
to, yeah. Do you know that?
Yeah, Badahi.
Hmm?
Badahi.
Yeah. So if you go to like South Mono, Ajak, Louis
Mhm.
and all of those area, it's at
Yeah.
night the market.
Mhm.
But when you go to, you just get to Abome like an hour, 15 minutes later, the market is daytime. And each area has their own norm when it comes to how you get married, how you do this, how you do that, right? Like the Scandinavian people from Denmark, Sweden, Finland, they leave the kid out and they go in the restaurant and but here if you leave your kid out, like Nasif say, if you're lucky, the police gonna call you. People gonna steal your baby here in the US. They'll steal the baby. They won't call the police on you. They'll steal, right? Because they're still kids. That's why when the kids are playing, you open the garage and you stay outside to watch them. But you when that's the norm here. But when you go to Africa, for example, the parents don't stay outside. You just go and play. You play until you come back when you have enough. Nobody follow you to
Okay.
watch
I want
you.
to say something in response to that. Actually,
Go ahead.
that is part of why the author says we're so not connected. It like in the U.S., less than like 100 kidnappings a year are from strangers. If someone takes the kid, it's someone you know. It's
Mhm.
always someone you know. No stranger wants your kid. Kids are
Yeah,
expensive to take care of.
yeah. But
But
but they still kidnap the kid.
it
Yeah.
doesn't
Can
happen
I
in
could I
Africa.
also add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
We read a book that was saying that the kind of violence, kidnapping, and all those things have actually decreased compared to
Yeah.
what used to be. However, the social media, the kind of the how information is now today makes it here so much that compared to the size of population we have, it has decreased considerably. But not to say that it doesn't exist. However, what Shiro was saying, almost nobody wants your kid. We have a say in our in phone that if a death is coming, it's always from the family. It's almost always from your close, from within.
Yeah, someone who
Let's
watch the
continue.
pattern and
Yeah.
know how you do every day and you behave this way, and that's why they're
Mhm.
watching and they know when they're gonna intervene. So to finish, Colum and I, we watched a couple, I think from the UK, and they migrate to Belize to live in Belize in the jungle, but they have a truck to take their two daughters to school. And on the way to school, they will see all of the older kids and they will pick them
Mhm.
and drop them all at school. But here, if you're going, can you take the neighbor daughter or son
To
to
school?
school if
No.
you didn't agree? If you see them on the rain here, you cannot take them. And this is the norm. It is good or bad, that's a question that each person can answer according to. But just to go back to whatever norms is like when the American travel, they want people to do what they are doing. right? They go to a new area and they want people to behave like them. They don't want to adapt to the society, to the place, how people behave. They don't want to. They want to import because they think the norm are the universal, and there is no universal norm. Each society have their own rule of behavior when it comes to everything, like from food to religion to whatever. They have their own. So that's what I want to say about
Yeah.
the norm. We have to have our eyes open when we meet new people, right? The Arab, they will write from the right to the left. The Western European write from the left to the right, but the Japanese write from the top to the bottom. And all of these are norms. There is no wrong or right. It's a choice. So thank you. That's what I want to add to it.
Mm. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah. So it look
We
like we
have
finished early.
we
Choppy, you're there?
Yeah.
yeah, we have to be able to learn and learn and relearn. Because if you prize too much your first learning, it means that you don't want to unlearn what you were doing wrong before. And that's normally happen. You will see people who travel and they don't want to change. And sometimes it's not even your fault, because I remember that when I came here, I tend to stick to my pronunciation, to the way I used to pronounce things, and a lot of American people could not understand me. But I say, oh, until I decided to change. So sometimes, you have to be able to change. Otherwise, what you are calling norm will be very, very laughed at, and the pronunciation is different from one country to another. If you
Mhm.
hear the Indians, they cannot pronounce the V word. They will say W. Instead of V, they will say W. So those kind of small, small things can be changed if you are open to change. And it's difficult because our mind is too expensive to change, because the brain consumes 20% of our whole energy. So that's why he always want to take the shortcut. And that's why we don't want to change as well. So that's important. Thank you for the books, because it questioned everything that we knew. It questioned everything that you knew, it questioned. So that's great. As another guy was saying, he said, we only know 0%. I said, why 0%? He said, yeah, it's only what you know. So
Mhm.
it's, in another words, we don't know anything. Thank
Right.
you. And I finish.
Thank
Okay.
you. And I say,
Yeah.
I think the book is asking us to keep our mind open, right?
Mm-hmm.
To to be open to other thing. What is norm here is not the norm elsewhere.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Um, thank you everyone for your participation. And next Monday, I will present the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Oh, great.
Shubi, you are
Awesome.
lucky. You are lucky to have that book, because definitely you master it better than anyone else. So you are lucky. You
Oh,
are very
Okay.
lucky.
awesome. So she's going to teach us to be rich now. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
And who's
love
gonna
that.
introduce you?
Me,
Who's going to
me,
Tonton
introduce you?
Harun.
Okay,
me.
that's cool.
Oh,
When am I
awesome.
presenting?
Mhm.
Myself, I don't present anymore. I don't present often.
Okay, you
Oh,
can take
really?
my place.
Not, not necessarily, but it seems that.
So that's the thing.
Because right now I'm in
All
the
right, then go
audit.
ahead.
I'm in the
Mhm.
audit, and I have to write a lot of reports. So
Okay, so let me take your position then.
Okay. So
Okay.
I will
Okay.
Well,
shuffle. I will shuffle and assign that to Charlie. Okay.
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 Charlie is
That's fine
presenting
with me.
next week.
No,
No,
it's me.
No, after
uh,
next week is Charlie.
Shupi
After
is
next week,
presented,
yeah.
yeah, and after next week I will.
Okay, let me look through the schedule and yeah, because Sister Fatu is not coming anymore, so I have to probably remove her from that book from Tony Robbins and assign another person. So we got the new. I will try to be rich, and then Nasif will be on my own 2 feet, and Colum will follow on my own 2 feet
So
also.
now it will be Charlie.
Yeah, I will remove Charlie and switch Charlie with Nasif. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, or probably I'll move Nasif to Fatu place because Fatu is not coming, and then Nasif will do Money Master the game.
December
Okay.
29.
Mhm.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a
yeah.
good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
Have a
you.
good
Bye.
Shira,
night.
you
Thank
are
you.
not
Sure, you're
introducing.
in a hurry.
Hmm?
Shira,
What you want to know?
Yeah.
this time is a social time for us. So let's continue
Okay.
the talk.
No, we can save 11 minutes, and another book might go to 10, 11. So
That's true.
Okay. That's true.
Okay.
yeah, like next
All
week
right.
we want to be rich, and Shubi will be there.
Mhm.
Remember, the guy is teaching how to become a millionaire in Africa, how to become a millionaire in 3 months, and
Huh?
yeah, in Benin. And so the first day of the training, people already paid, and the first day of the training, they're all there in the classroom. And when the lecturer came in, people start walking out. People start walking out. You know what is the reason?
No.
The
No.
lecturer, he took Zemijan to come for the place in the morning, and people start the people start walking out. Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Okay,
good night.
thank you. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Mm.
Yeah.